Today's lesson is called The Fish of Maui. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and we've got a little bit of a story for you today. It's all about the Maori people of New Zealand, and this is a story called The Fish of Maui, and it's an actual real story written by a New Zealand writer by the name of Peter Gossage, and he has also written other stories about Maori folklore.
So you're saying this is a mythological tale?
I believe it is, yes, kind of a traditional story.
You know what? Not too long ago, I remember reading Norse mythology on this particular program. So here we're going to be reading some mythology having to do with the Maori there in New Zealand. Now, I bring this up because in Norse mythology, there was a troublemaker. There was a trickster named Loki, and Loki's always getting everybody in trouble. Well, get this. Maui is similar to Loki because he is a trickster. So there you go. He's not a bad guy. He's a good guy, but he does like to get into trouble. Anyways, let's learn more about this guy, Maui, when we come back and start reading from our lesson called The Fish of Maui.
The Fish of Maui. When the great trickster Maui was just a young boy, his brothers left him behind while they went on their fishing trips, dismissing him as too small to be anything but an obstacle to their efforts. Each time they gathered their nets and lines and left without him, Maui became increasingly determined to prove his older brothers wrong.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 dismiss， 这个字是动词，指不予理会、考虑、摒弃。例如 Bert dismissed the advice he received and decided to do things his own way. Bert 不理会他收到的建议，决定依自己的方法行事。或是The politician dismissed rumors that he would run for higher office. 那名政客驳斥他要追求更高职位的谣言。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还可以指让离开、遣散、解雇，像是 The woman dismissed her cleaner because she no longer needed her services. 那位女士遣散了打扫人员，因为她不再需要她服务了。再补充一个相关片语 dismiss A as B，表示把 A 当作 B 而不予理会。举例来说 We protested when they dismissed our plan as unrealistic. 我们发出抗议，因他们把我们的计划当作不切实际而不予理会。
Okay, so that's our article for today. It's a summary or a synopsis of the story, The Fish of Maui. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's look at the first paragraph here. It says, when the great trickster Maui was just a young boy, his brothers left him behind while they went on their fishing trips. So we did mention this word trickster before we actually listen to the first part of our lesson. A trickster is somebody who likes to play tricks on other people. They're kind of naughty and they do things to other people on purpose to kind of embarrass them.
Anyways, we've got Maui. He's not happy sitting there on the shore there. He's not allowed to go on those fishing trips because his brothers say that he's too small. It says that the brothers dismiss him as too small to be anything but an obstacle to their efforts. What does this mean? It means that the bigger brothers said, Maui, you can't come. You'll only be getting in the way. You'll be an obstacle to what we're trying to do. So we're dismissing you, pal. You're not even entering our thoughts. Stay on shore. There's no way you're getting on this boat with us and going fishing with us.
Yep, to dismiss here has a couple of meanings. It could mean that your teacher is letting you go. Class dismissed. You may all leave and go to your next class or go home. But also here, it just means that you basically don't take somebody seriously. You don't consider their role. You think they're not worth your time, so you dismiss them. Maybe, for example, you bring up an idea during a business meeting and somebody poo-poos you. They say, that's a dumb idea. Let's hear from some other ideas. You've been dismissed. They have dismissed your ideas, and that's what's happening here. The brothers have dismissed him. They don't take him seriously. He's too small to be anything but an obstacle. So anything but means basically only, okay? So he could only be an obstacle. He could only get in the way. There's no reason to bring him along. He'll just cause trouble.
Guys, can I finally come along? No way. Get out of here, Maui. That would be them dismissing him. Why? Because he's not going to be helpful. If he got on board with them, pretty much the only thing that he could do was be an obstacle. He would be getting in the way. So why bring him along if he's only going to get in the way? That would be counterproductive. Anyways, each time they gathered their nets and lines and left without him, Maui became increasingly determined to prove his older brothers wrong. So there you go. Maui doesn't want to be thought of as the little brother, as the runt of the litter. He wants to show people that he can contribute, that he is not going to get in the way. He wants to show them that he can help out. Anyways, folks, with that, it is time for us to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll continue reading from our story called The Fish of Maui.
He secretly hatched a plan to prove to them that he was a great fisherman. One night, when he was alone, he wove a strong fishing line from flax. The next morning, as his brothers once again prepared to set off together, Maui concealed himself in the bottom of their canoe in hopes of accompanying them without their knowledge.
第二部分，我们看到动词 conceal 指隐藏、遮住、掩饰、隐瞒。例如 Brad concealed his money in a special belt. Brad 把钱藏在特殊的腰带里。另外，补充一个相关片语 conceal something from somebody， 表示对某人隐瞒某事。我们可以说 William concealed his anger from his boss by pretending to smile. William 装出笑容，不让老板察觉他的怒气。接着我们看到片语 without somebody's knowledge， 表示不知情。举例来说 The thief climbed through a window of the building without the security guard's knowledge. 小偷在警卫不知情的情况下，从窗户爬进了那栋建筑物。另外，补充它的反义片语 with somebody's knowledge， 就表示在某人知情的状况下。我们可以说 Did you borrow Jenny's car with her knowledge? Jenny 知道你借了她的车吗？再补充一个相关片语To the best of one's knowledge， 表示就某人所知。例如 To the best of Amy's knowledge, Denise has avoided eating dairy products for more than a year. 就 Amy 所知 Denise 不吃乳制品已经有1年多了。
Okay, so let's continue with our story. We're now in the second paragraph. And remember, the older brothers are going to go fishing, but they don't want the youngest brother to come with them because they think he will be anything but an obstacle. He'll only be an obstacle to their efforts. So he's kind of mad about that. He secretly hatched a plan to prove to them that he was a great fisherman. So, yes, I'm going to show them, he's thinking. I am not going to be an obstacle. I'm not going to get in the way. I'm actually a good fisherman. I could actually contribute to their effort. We could catch a lot of fish together. So here he came up with a plan. Hatch here is a verb. That's what baby chickens do when they come out of the egg. They're hatched from the egg, or the eggs hatch, I should say. And so here he invented a plan.
There you go. He came up with this plan, and then he put it into action. So one night, when he was alone, he wove a strong fishing line from flax. This is a part of his plan. The next morning, as his brothers once again prepared to set off together, Maui concealed himself in the bottom of their canoe in hopes of accompanying them without their knowledge. So there you go. There's the plan, and there's some of Maui's trickery. He's going to conceal or hide himself in the bottom of his brother's canoe. So there you go. If you conceal yourself, you hide yourself somewhere so that you can't be seen. And a canoe, that's like a really narrow boat, right?
Yeah, that's famous in North America by native Indians there, Native Americans. They made canoes there. So yes, indeed, he comes up with this plan. First of all, he makes a fishing line. He wove it. Wove is the past tense of weave. When you take different pieces of thread and put them together, you're weaving something. He made it from flax, which is a special kind of plant. I think it's yama in Chinese. And yes, he concealed himself in the bottom of their canoe before they set off. To set off means to begin a trip.
There you go. So he's in the canoe, and what's he trying to accomplish here? He's hoping to accomplish something, and that's why we're using this phrase, in hopes of. By the way, if you accompany someone or some group of people to a place, you go there with them. That's the idea. Further, if you do something without someone's knowledge, you do it secretly. So he's going to go fishing with his brothers, but they aren't going to know about it. He's concealed himself, he's hidden himself, he's done this without their knowledge. They are not wise to the fact that Maui is in that canoe.
Yeah, for example, my wife sold our car without my knowledge. She sold it and she didn't tell me about it. That, of course, is an example there that didn't really happen. And you could also say he concealed himself in the bottom of their canoe, hoping to accompany them without their knowledge. So if you use hoping, then you need to follow that with the infinitive. Hoping to accompany them, that was his wish. That is why he hid himself in the bottom of their canoe. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson. Let's listen now to the third part.
The plan worked, and when Maui heard the brothers toss their anchor overboard, he revealed himself, knowing they were too far from the shore to turn around and take him back. Maui's brothers groaned in disappointment as he leapt up and exclaimed, "Now it's my turn to show I'm a better fisherman than any of you." With that, he pulled out his enchanted jawbone, attached it to his line, and recited a magic charm as he cast it into the sea. Within seconds, there was a fierce tug on the line.
第三部分，我们看到名词 anchor 指锚，或是新闻节目的主播。例如 I bought a decorative anchor while vacationing in New England. 我去新英格兰度假时买了一个锚的装饰品。或是 The anchor of the news segment was sick, so a reporter took his place. 电视新闻节目的主播生病了，所以有一名记者代班。另外，这个字也可以当动词，指抛锚使船停下，使固定。举例来说 The sailors sailed into the harbor and anchored the ship. 水手们开船入港，然后抛锚停船。或是 Brian anchored the shelf to the wall so that it won't easily fall over. Brian 把架子固定在墙上，这样他才不会轻易倾倒。最后，我们看到单字 overboard， 这个字是副词，意思是向船外。我们可以说 The waves washed some of the boxes overboard。海浪把船上的一些箱子冲进海里。另外，补充一个相关片语 go overboard， 表示行事或说话过头，像是 Lily said her daughter could eat some candy, but warned her not to go overboard. Lily 说女儿可以吃些糖果，但警告她不可过量。
Okay, so the plan has been hatched. But will it work? Well, that's what we learn next. The next line says, the plan worked. And when Maui heard the brothers toss their anchor overboard, he revealed himself, knowing they were too far from the shore to turn around and take him back. Ha ha ha! What are you going to do now, guys? We're far away from shore. I'm your brother. You can't throw me overboard. I won't be able to swim back. I'll die, and my death will be on your hands. My plan has worked. Ha 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 ha. The trickster Maui has succeeded. Anyways, if you do throw someone overboard, you pick them up and you throw them into the water. They're no longer on the boat. Now, you can also fall overboard. That's what you say when someone trips and falls, let's say, and they end up in the water before they were on the boat, and then they fell into the ocean or into a lake or into a sea or something like that. So you can throw someone overboard or they can fall overboard.
Right, so we're using the word toss here, which is the same as throw, but it's not as strong as throw. You might ask your child to toss you the ball, because if they throw it, they might hit you hard with it and you'll break a few teeth or something like that, so you gotta watch out. Remember, the anchor is that big piece of metal that will keep the boat in the same position after you throw it overboard. I think it's mao, pao mao to mao, anchor, okay? Now, then he revealed himself after they tossed the anchor overboard, and he did this because he knew they were already too far from the shore to turn around and take him back. It was too late. Ha ha, guys, I'm here. You're already too far out at sea. You can't get rid of me now.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it? So, let's start fishing together. Well, before anything else happens, Maui's brothers groaned in disappointment as he leapt up and exclaimed, "Now it's my turn to show I'm a better fisherman than any of you." And after he said this, the brothers probably groaned once again. Not only did he find his way onto our boat, but he's also so annoying. That is a groaning sound, by the way.
Oh, my goodness, it's raining again. To groan. And, of course, they groaned in disappointment, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to show you guys that I'm just as good a fisherman as you guys. In fact, I'm better than you." And with that, or after that, after he said that, he pulled out his enchanted jawbone, attached it to his line, and recited a magic charm as he cast it into the sea, or as he threw it into the ocean there. So if something is kind of magical, or if it has a special power, sometimes we can use the word enchanted.
I remember an episode of The Simpsons long ago when Homer Simpson thought he had an enchanted baseball bat or a softball bat that he could use to hit home runs whenever he was up to bat. He thought the bat was enchanted or magic. Anyways, he kind of used this enchanted jawbone like a hook, and he attached it to his line, that flaxen line, and recited a magic charm as he cast it into the sea. By the way, if you recite some words, You say them out loud. You've memorized them, and then you say them out loud. You don't read them from a book. You read them from memory. Now, within seconds, there was a fierce tug on the line. Oh, my goodness. It sounds like Maui has caught himself something pretty good, which is kind of amazing. That magic spell or magic charm must be pretty good because there's no evidence here that he's using any bait. Usually you have to bait a hook.
You do, but he's got an enchanted jawbone, which can probably catch any kind of fish. Probably something like a largemouth bass or a hammerhead shark. We'll find out exactly what he caught in our next program. Right now it's time to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。故事里面的毛伊总是被哥哥们丢下，那他们不愿意带他出海捕鱼，于是呢他就躲在船艇的底部偷偷跟着一起出航。当毛伊听到哥哥们把这个船锚丢到船外时，他才现身。好，文中他是用到 heard The brothers tossed their anchor overboard 来表达说听见哥哥们将船锚丢到船外。好，这边的 hear 它是感官动词的用法哦。那我们就顺便来整理相关用法。感官动词是指看、听、闻、感觉等等之类的动词，像是 see, watch, look at,Notice, listen to, hear, smell, feel 等等，那就是用来表达透过感官所观察到的周遭人事物。好，它的用法是感官动词加受词加受词补语。这个受词补语可以是原形动词，可以是现在分词或是过去分词，可是这三种用法的意义不同。我们先来看第一种，感官动词加受词加原形动词，这是表达观察到事实或是过程。例如I didn't notice anyone leave this room. 我没有注意到有任何人离开这个房间。那这边是要强调说他观察到这个事实，他是没有注意到有任何人离开的。好，第二个用法是感官动词加受词加现在分词 VING， 这是表达观察到动作正在进行。例如They heard someone talking downstairs. 他们听到楼下有人正在讲话。第三个用法是感官动词加受词加过去分词 PP， 这是用来表达受词的被动状态。举例来说 Ron saw a police car parked in front of his neighbor's house. Ron 看到一辆警车停在邻居的家门前。好，那么毛伊要向哥哥们来展现他的本领啊。那课文第三部分就提到说他有念魔法咒语，文中是用到 recite 这个动词。那我们来学习它的字首字根。好，先来看到字根 CIT 或是拼作 CITE， 它是有这种召唤啊、激起、唤醒或是激励等等的意思。那么在 recite 这个字当中，它的字首 RE 表示再度，字根 cite 表示呼唤。当我们在背诗或是把东西背出来的时候，就是把它从记忆里面叫出来，把它再次呼唤出来，所以就可以想到 recite 它有背诵或是吟诵的意思。顺便补充两个有相同字根的单字，第一个是 excite，EXCITE， 它的字首 EX 表示向外，字根 CITE 表示引起。那这个字是到20世纪才有这种兴奋激动的意思，不过同时你也可以透过说激起内在的情绪，然后向外表现出来，用这样的方式来联想 excite 这个字的意思。好，那么第二个补充的是 incite，INCITE， 好，它的字首 IN 表示在上方，那么字根 CITE 表示鼓励，合在一起 incite 它就有煽动或是鼓动的意思。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Dismiss. Willa's father dismissed her question with a wave of his hand. Conceal. The shadows concealed Andrew as he crept toward his brother. Canoe. The men made a canoe out of the trunk of a giant tree. Accompany. Tracy accompanied her mother to the supermarket to buy some bread. Anchor. The old fisherman took in the sail and threw the anchor over the side of his boat. Groan. Ted groaned as his dad told a remarkably unfunny joke during dinner. Recite. Robert recited the poem to his classmates with great enthusiasm.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.